So let's talk about boundaries. If this topic is something that is really important to you, I want to congratulate you. And the reason is because it means that you are finally recognizing that you have worth and that you need to start respecting you. You finally recognize the fact that you are worthy of setting boundaries and so that you can protect yourself from outside forces that is taking away your sense of own dignity. So why do we want to even set a boundary? I think it's safe to say that generally we set a boundary because we want to protect something, right? So the question is, what are we trying to protect? Most of us who are setting boundaries is because we've been hurt. People have trampled all over us. We have been betrayed. We've been too generous with our time, our energy. Maybe we've allowed people to get away with things that were important to us. We've sort of looked the other way and we didn't even realize it until we started feeling really upset and angry. Usually, if you're angry or hurt, it's telling you something. It's telling you that something that's important to you has been violated. When I first realized that I need to set boundaries was after my divorce some 30 years ago. In my marriage, I had no boundaries. I didn't even realize that when I was upset about something or something hurt me or something didn't feel right, that I need to listen to that and talk about it and understand why I feel that way. Instead, I dismissed it, thinking that, oh, I must be wrong. There's something wrong with the way I feel. I shouldn't feel this way. I'm being irrational. I'm being unreasonable. When I feel this way, other people are going to treat me the same way. And so years of that, allowing that, has a way of eating away at our self-esteem, our sense of self-worth, our confidence. Now, for me personally, I started realizing I need to set boundaries when I had children. After my divorce, but really, I was so angry that I wasn't thinking about, well, what did I do wrong? I was really pointing fingers at what he did wrong. And that lasted for quite a few years. I realized I needed to set clear boundaries when I started thinking about, well, what kind of values do I want to instill in my children? And so when I started asking about that or thinking about that, I started thinking about what would I do if they violated those important things that I'm trying to instill in them. So a very simple example is, let's say, not lying, being truthful. So I had to decide and think about, if they lied to me, how much grace am I going to give them? How many times? And then when they violated that final time, what am I going to do? What consequence am I going to meter out? And so I started thinking about that. And for me, it was 3 strikes and you're out. First time you lie to me, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you didn't mean it, right? Second time, my antenna's going up. I'm watching you. The third time it happens, we're having a talk. And then there's a consequence, okay? And so the hardest thing, however, was to carry out the consequence when they finally violated my final thing. Am I going to just let it slide and accept their excuse, or am I going to meter out the consequence? And that is when the rubber meets the road and is the most important action step you can take in terms of keeping your boundaries and making sure that it's respected. So that leads to the word respect. What is that? Now, for me, it's that a fuzzy word that we feel when it's violated, but it's hard to identify concretely what it is that you violated that caused me to feel you disrespected me, right? And that's a personal journey each one of us have to go on interiorly and then identify what kind of strategy we're going to apply to carry out our own respect for ourselves, and then set the boundaries so that others have that respect for us. Now, we can't force people to respect us, right? We could set boundaries on things that are important to us that communicate that you've disrespected me. Respect is such a hard thing to set a boundary around. As an example, a respect area where I set boundary is when someone sets a date with me, let's say, and then they cancel at the last minute, or they forget, or whatever that is, right? It's an excuse, whatever that excuse is. So generally, first time, okay, I'll let it go. We all forget. Second time, this doesn't feel good, but it happened yet again, right? Third time it happens, I am not feeling good about this. So what am I going to do? Am I going to just let it go because I don't want to, it feels uncomfortable to confront that other person. It feels uncomfortable to be vulnerable around that person, to let them know that they're not paying attention to me, or their inaction or canceling really hurt my feelings because I care about them, perhaps more than they care about me, for example, or I'm respecting them more than they're sort of respecting me. It's easier to let it go and pretend, oh, it didn't hurt me, it didn't bother me, kind of thing. But it is harder to say, this is really important to me. I felt disrespected when you did this. Okay, first time, I understand, but it's happened X number of times. And I care enough about our relationship that I wanted to talk to you about it and then have a conversation, right? If this is happening with someone that I want to have a deeper relationship with, but it's happening yet again 3 times, well, I might have to assess within my own self whether this person is worth my time. And perhaps I'm allowing this person to trample all over me. Perhaps I'm not communicating effectively. Now, we don't always have to go deep and be vulnerable with someone. We can just set the consequence and then act on it. So if it's someone that I don't have a very long-standing relationship with, and they've hurt my feelings because I feel they're taking advantage of my kindness, for example, I might just carry out the consequence without making a big deal. Maybe I won't put aside time that they want next time. Maybe I'll put something else that's greater priority in front of them, right? Because I'm sort of feeling it out. And by doing that, I'm sort of sending a signal that no, I'm not going to be available for you every time you're available. I have other things that are important, and I'm going to make sure that I place other things that are important to me in front of that. Some people listening might think, oh, that's manipulative, right? Well, it can be. It might sound manipulative. Manipulation is really a motivation thing. So if you are feeling like you are manipulating, then you have to do some interior work to see, okay, if it is it, and then take necessary steps to make sure it's not, so that you live in accordance with your core values. If your core values is to have integrity, but to live out those values, whatever that is. So setting boundaries is hard because it might cost you a friendship. But then you have to ask yourself, was it really a friendship that I want to keep? Setting boundaries is, I think, very, very difficult when we are in need. So for example, if I'm feeling lonely and I want friends and I don't want to spend another Friday night alone, I might be more inclined to violate my own set of core values of being respected, because I want to be with someone who doesn't return the respect and honor that I want in my life. I want that mutuality in my relationship. But let's say this person is always trampling on me, but I'm making myself available to this person. I don't exert a whole lot of boundaries with them. They can cancel on me. They can say awful things to hurt my feelings. And I pretend it doesn't bother me, right? And I pretend that I laugh at things that might be more hurtful. I'm not being true to what is important to me. Now, if you sit down and talk with them and talk about your boundary, and yet they violate it yet again, well, then you have to think about making some more serious steps to be heard and be respected. Finally, I just want to talk about respect. You know, we can't force respect, and honestly, we cannot expect respect. Say that 10 times. We cannot expect others to respect us if we don't respect ourselves. So self-respect is so important. And that starts by seeing value for what you want, who you are, and the things that are important to you. And then saying to ourselves, I'm worth it. I'm worth someone respecting me. I'm worth someone respecting my boundaries. It might be really hard, and it will be hard. It will be very hard to follow through. But I guarantee you, when you do that, you're going to feel more empowered over time. You're going to feel more confident over time. Your self-respect will grow. Your self-esteem will grow. And you will then start earning the respect of others without too much effort. Because you're going to be living with integrity within yourself and in front of other people when no one is looking and when people are looking. Because it will be no longer a thing to say, hey, look at me, I'm doing this. It's going to be more, I am living according to my core values, and it doesn't matter if people are watching me or not watching me, or if it costs me friendships, or if it costs me my job, or if it costs me whatever that is. Okay. I hope this video has encouraged you and you feel good about where you're at right now. If this video on boundaries has really interested you, congratulations, because it means you're at a very good place to start identifying your core values and identifying and doing something about self-respect and applying boundaries to people who previously have trampled all over you. I wish you hope and peace.